it's MK, and I am here with a new series for you guys for January, and it is called Getting in Shape by Shannon K, and, well, it's her brainchild, and I am incorporating this with Baby Got Scraps, and the thought behind this series, this new series for January, is that we are going to use shapes in our scrapbooking. So, oddly enough, I had this piece of wood, and the shape for today is circles. And so this piece of wood already had circles cut out of it because I used a ring from this tree wood grain print. And then I think I bring in another circle. But seriously, that is what I planned on using for my circle, was just the circle from the wood grain because it was already there for me in my scraps, and then I get to use my Baby Got Scraps. I also pulled out several scraps that are actually just packaging, and 49 and Market, I love their no waste packaging because you get extra little prints from their, from the back of their packaging. Granted, it is a little on the shiny side, but I do like including those prints in my layouts. So I've got some wood veneer from Some Assemblage Required. And then while I was cleaning out my scrap box, I also found these little die cut trees from, I think these are from two different die sets. One was Elizabeth Crafts and the other one was Tim Holtz. I also have this acrylic moon that was also from Some Assemblage Required. Couple years ago, actually. And then the puffy stars. I don't remember who made the puffy stars, though, you guys. I apologize. This is that border strip that I decided to use as an embellishment. So I went ahead and I cut it up. So I had all these little words. And I think I'm going to do Wake Up and Be Awesome. But then again, I'm not sure if it works. So maybe, but I'm going to put it back. I have a tray up in front of me, and it has a bunch of little things that I found in my scrap box that I think will work with a couple of the layouts that I put together during my Baby Got Scrap preparation video. So I just went ahead and put them up there instead of trying to figure out which layouts they go with now. I figured that I will just bring them in. Now I do have these clusters that I created during our No Fuss clustering class with Janet and myself. And so I plan on bringing this one in, or trying to. I was like, that's a perfect title. And then I don't have to go and figure out what my title is going to be. So I really thought that was perfect. All right. So now I'm going to try to figure out how to make a 12 by 12 layout using all my scraps without bringing in a 12 by 12 piece of paper. What my thought was on this circle was to highlight this paper, because this paper by Close to My Heart, the Aurora paper, is absolutely gorgeous. And I just felt like it needed to be highlighted. It needed to be framed, and bringing in a circle around it is absolutely perfect. But I didn't want to waste all of it by just gluing it straight to the back of the wood grain. So that is how I'm incorporating a circle, and I'm just trying to decide if I wanted it over on the left or do I want it on the right. And for some reason, the right just feels right. So I definitely love including circles in my layouts. However, for this one, I really wanted to stick with my scraps. And when I was putting this one together, I had already knew, it was like meant to be. As soon as I put the stars with the wood grain and the Aurora paper, I already knew what photos I wanted. So I already had an idea in my brain as to how this layout was going to come about. However, it wasn't a circle-y layout. Like, I couldn't cut circles out of the stars and have them floating around the layout. It just wasn't in the stars for this layout to be. So I decided that I was going to piece together, because the pieces are all 12 inches long and they really work well together. So I decided that I was going to build a 12 by 12 layout with the pieces that I have, and then of course whatever's left over, end up incorporating those as photo mats. But I'm still able to get my circle in by using the circle that was already cut into my wood grain and not have it be out of place, I guess. So I just, like I said, I love including circles in my layout in all different ways. Whether it is, I'd hate to say that, but I very rarely cut my photos in circles. But I do like, including circles scattered all over the page, and then they become bubbles for either an ocean layout or a bathtub layout, or, some sort of water layout. I also include messy circles. I love getting the die cuts that have the messy circles, or even the images in the Cricut. They do really good messy circles as well. So I really do like including circles in my layout. However, like I said, this one, I just really wanted to showcase that piece of paper with the circle that was cut out of my wood grain. Now, in hindsight, I really thought about distressing the edge so it looks like it was a hole in like my cabin, and that's my view. But I didn't even think about that until like right now as I'm, voiceovering. But that definitely would have given it a lot more interest had I have done that. It would have just looked like a knot in the wood grain. And then if I poked through it, if I looked through it like a keyhole, this would have been my view. So anyways, just a second thought. I'm not going to tear my layout apart just to do that. It is totally stuck together. All right. So this is how I piecemeal pages together to work as a 12 by 12 is I use washi tape. That way, if I have to undo it, the washi tape comes undone easier than my ATG. And so I usually just do washi tape and then flip it over and then actually use adhesive. For these larger pieces, I put adhesive on both edges, and then that way I know they're going to overlap and I won't have any like hangnails going on in the back. So I'm going to use these borders or these branding strips just to use at the top and the bottom to make it look like my seams are finished. I was going to rip that one 49 and Market branding strip in half, and then I realized that it matched too much on the bottom and it didn't really need it. So I went ahead and washi taped it back together. I only ripped it about maybe 1.5 inches. So I washi taped it back together, and now you can't even tell that I tried to rip it. And I think it brings that cream up to the top of the layout. So I really like that. All right, so I printed my photos in 2x3, just basically the Project Life app. I brought them in. It had a 4 spot. I picked a separate photo for the 4th spot. That took hours, I'm just saying. It's hard to find just one photo of something, and especially when you want it or are needing it to be a 2x3. So I wasn't really sure. It's just a one-off photo. So I went ahead and trimmed it down. These photos here were taken with my brand new phone. I got an iPhone 14 or something like that. It was an upgrade option that along with it came a brand new Series 8 watch. It's something that Apple does every now and then when they're getting ready to launch a brand new product. So like they just, as soon as they had the deal for the Series 8 watch, they launched the Series 9 watch. And so normally you can pick up the latest model right before they release the other model super cheap. And so that's what I did. I did a combo. I got a new phone, and then I got a new watch, new to me anyways. And so I was outside playing with it. Of course, at 3:00 in the morning. And the moon was so bright that morning that it just seemed like it was daylight. Like of course there's clouds in the sky because I can see the clouds behind my tree. But yeah, I just was so impressed with how vibrant the night sky was. So I wanted to see how good my phone was. Okay. It's got 3 cameras on the back for a reason. I want to see what the reason is. And so I played with 3 different settings, and I posted this on my Facebook because I couldn't tell which one I liked the most. And I still can't tell which one I like the most. So I decided on my layout, I'm going to put all 3. But I think with my leftover scraps that I have, because I still have that gorgeous wood grain circle, as well as the other half of the Aurora print, and then scraps from this Tim Holt paper that I'm distressing now, as well as a little scrap from the 49 Market packaging. So I have enough to do a teeny tiny little like flip flap page of some sort. And so I'm thinking that what I will do is I will print off a 4x6 of the photo that everyone liked on Facebook. I was like, okay, that's an idea. I really do like how all of these colors just go really well together. I mean, it's gorgeous. It really is. I couldn't wait to do this layout as soon as I put it all together. I was debating about cutting my circle down and having it go in behind the borders. And then I thought, no, that's going to cover up my paper. I really don't want to do that. But the thought was there. And then I'm going to figure out where my, what are they called? Where my pine cone clusters are going to go. And once I figure out where they're going to go, I really wanted to just decorate the left side of this page with my photos cascading down the left side and not do anything with the right side. My first thought was to incorporate some of these trees and have them cascading down as well. And then I realized that it wasn't going to work the way that I was expecting it, and I was pretty much going to cover up those trees. So it's okay. They will come back for another project, I promise, but for right now, I decided not to use them. All right, so I went into my into my alcohol markers, and I pulled out a couple Stampin' Up! Blends. The reason why I'm using alcohol markers on these instead of paint pens is because I still wanted the wood grain. And when you use alcohol markers, it kind of darkens the color just a little bit, so that way you get a darker shade than what's on your pen. That's why I picked the 2 bright pens that I have. At first I picked a too bright of a pen, and so I had to go and change it out for, I think, Old Olive or something like that. So I've got Granny Green and Old Olive. And I'm taking the light color and coloring all over the place. And then I'm taking the dark color and just getting the tips. And then, of course, the stems. So that way it looks like they're sun faded type of deal. I took whatever ink was left over on my ink dauber and inked up the pine cones. I wasn't really worried about full coverage. I just wanted to give them a little bit more of a brown look than the blonde look that they were. And then, of course, I wanted them to match my tree ring that is in my little title, which is another circle that I brought in, not knowing that I brought in another circle for this project. Now, all of the wood veneer from Some Assemblage Required has this sticky back adhesive on the back. I love it because now I don't have to worry about how I'm going to attach this, what glue do I use, anything. It just comes self-adhesive, and it is just fabulous. So I left the packaging on my cluster where it said Love This, because Love This is a sticker. It's a hide a swap sticker. And I definitely wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to stick to anything else while in, I guess, storage. So I just took that off, and then I'm deciding how I want to place all of my pieces down. So I couldn't remember how they were going to go and in what order. I still need to add my film strip in there. I want to make sure that I get those film strips used up. That one is from the December box, from the December monthly box. So I only had half of the film strip packaging to play with. So, and then I'm using a little bit of foam so that way my photo sits on top of the wood veneer instead of kind of makes a wave, and it goes from a thickness down to paper. I'm going to cut my film strip into thirds and then scatter it along my little cluster I have cascading down. And once I find placement, I'm going to figure out where I want my moon to go. Now, my moon is a thicker acrylic piece. It's not the thin wood veneer that that is sold in the shop now. So these pieces are rather thick, and I wasn't sure if I wanted that super thick dimension with the wood veneer and the acrylic on top of each other. So I decided to put the moon over on the right side and going into my circle, and I really like how that turned out as well. I'm going to pop up my title piece. That way it kind of sticks out a little bit, but it's also a little bit because the L, I think, lands on one of the pine cones, and I didn't want it to be wonky. So I like all my pieces to look flat. And I'm just cutting up some of these little squares. These are my Nuvo foam squares that I get in my Tonic Studios craft kit. And I just cut them in half so that way they fit on the word "this" in my title. They were the perfect width once I cut them in half. So, and I tipped it just a little bit so that way it looked like it was going around my circle, but I also wanted to leave the little tiny word that says "a little" going straight across. So that's where I figured out my placement, basically. And then I'm going to scatter these little stars all over, and then I will end up gluing those back down with some liquid adhesive. But for right now, this is what they are. And they just, those puffy stickers, once they are taken off the packaging, they don't stick very well. So anyways, that is what I have for you guys today. I had a blast making something with this layout, and I love working with circles in my layouts and coming up with new ways to bring circles into a layout. So I really did enjoy this one. Thank you, Shannon. Also, too, don't forget to check out the links down below for everyone that is getting in shape and playing with circles today. And then I have a bunch of links down below for Baby Got Scraps. Some of them are the same links and playing along with Baby Got Scraps just like I am. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really, truly appreciate it. And I will check you guys all later. Bye.